Hello, my lovelies. Let's do inverse functions. So, inverse functions are really like functions machines. That's how I like to see them. So, I need to think about what happened to the x, and then I have to undo that. So, let's have a look at the first couple together, then you can try a few on your own. Let me see. So, the first one is telling me that f of x equals to 5x. So this means I started with x and then I times it by 5, and that's how I got 5x. So if I'm going this way, I said timesing by 5, pardon me. So if I go the opposite way, I should be divided by 5, right? Which is the opposite of multiplication. So again, I'm starting with the x, but because I'm going the other way, I'm now going to divide by 5. So that's going to give me x over 5. And that's the final answer. Let's look at the second one. So for the second one, let's have a think what happened to the x. So I start with x, and the first step I do is I times that by 6. So times 6, and that gives me 6x. And then I took away 4, and that gives me 6x minus 4. Now, if I go back, I have to add 4, start by adding 4, and then divide my answer by 6. So let me do that. So I start with x, as always. Then we said I have to add 4 to it. And then at this step, I have to divide everything I've got by 6. So I do that. This is equal to the inverse function of x. All right? So if you think you've got the hang of this, pause me for a second, have a go at C and D. Then let's come back together and have a look. Okay, so we're back. Let me clear that one there. And let's have a look together. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. I've got x plus 7. And then I divided by 3. So that's how I got my original. Going backwards, I have to times by 3 and then take away 7. So as always, I start with x. And then I said, I'm going to times it by 3 first thing. So I stick a 3 to it. And then I'll have to take away 7 from that. So I take away 7. And I'm done. That's the answer for C. So it's the inverse function of x. And let's look at D. This one looks a bit interesting, doesn't it? So let's think. I started with x. Then I square rooted it. And I got square root of x. Then I times it by 5. And I got 5 root x. Then I added 1. And that's how I got 5 root x plus 1. So let's undo that. So we're going to have to take away 1. Divide by 5. And the opposite of square rooting is squaring. So I'm going to have to square my answer. So let's see how this looks. I start with x. First step, I take away 1. Then I have to divide everything by 5, which I'm going to do like that, doing a fraction line. And then I'm going to have to square, pardon me, I'm going to have to square my answer. So I put everything in brackets and square it, and I'm done. So that's the inverse function of x for D. There you go. Okay, the next one is pretty interesting. I don't think I've seen it in a paper. Have I seen it? I've seen it somewhere. But yes, let's have a look because it's a bit more interesting. All right, so for this one, It's a bit of a process actually. So you know how f of x is actually just another way of saying y equals to 2x over x minus 1. It's asking me for the inverse function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write y equals to 2x over x minus 1. And I do that just because of convenience, because what I want to do now is rearrange and make x be the subject of the formula, okay? So I'm going to multiply both sides by x minus 1 to get rid of the denominator. Minus 1. So they cancel out. So I'm going to have y equals to, pardon me, it doesn't equal to anything yet. Getting a bit overexcited. So y brackets x minus 1 equals to 2x. Expand the brackets. So xy minus y equals to 2x. Then I have to get both my x's on the same side of the equal sign. So what I'm going to do is I might add y to both sides, and I might take away 2x on both sides. So I said I'm going to add y, and take away 2x, take away 2x. So let's see what happens. So they go. There's my equal sign. So I've got x, y minus 2x. And on this side, I've just got the y left. I factorize. So y minus 2 equals to y. So then x is equal to y over y minus 2. So now you guys know how whenever you have your functions, you're actually saying f of x is equal to something, something, x, something, something, okay? So all you have to do at this point, after you've rearranged to make x the subject, is you want to swap the letters around. So wherever you see x, you have to write y. Whenever you see y, you have to write x. So that for me is going to be y, which we know is another way of saying f of x is equal to, we said we don't have y, we have x, we don't have y, we have x, and we take away 2. And that's my final answer. So my final answer is f of x equals to x over x minus 2. All right, you guys want to try number 3? We'll come back together, have a look. Okay, let's check it out, shall we? Let me get some space up in higher. This is going to take a while. All right, so let's see. It says find the inverse function for the following functions. There's a plural there. That shouldn't be there. All right, so we said we are going to write y equals to x over x plus 3. We're going to multiply both sides by x plus 3. So you guys, you apply this method when you see you've got 2 x's, okay, on the same side. Right. Technical difficulties here. So times x plus 3. That's like that. So I've got y x plus 3. There you go. Equals to x. Expand the bracket. xy plus 3y equals to x. Bring both x's on the same side. Probably going to take away xy. So if I take away xy on both sides, I'm going to get 3y equals to x minus xy. I'm going to take a common factor of x. So 3y equals to x, 1 minus y. And I'm going to divide both sides by the bracket. So that means x equals to 3y over 1 minus y. And remember the last step, very important. We have to write it in function notation. So the inverse function of x is equal to, remember we have to replace the y's with x's. So I've got 3x now, 1 minus x. So this is my final answer. And I'm done. Right, next one is composite functions. See you soon. Bye.